Buying a rental property in the United States can feel both exciting and overwhelming. For many people, it represents the first major step toward financial independence and long-term wealth building. The idea is simple: purchase a property, rent it out, and use that rental income to cover expenses while generating profit. But in practice, the process involves planning, research, and a clear understanding of how the U.S. real estate market works. The very first thing to consider is why someone wants to invest in a rental property. Some people are focused on creating a steady stream of monthly income that can supplement their job or retirement savings. Others are more interested in long-term appreciation, meaning they hope the property value will rise significantly over time. By clarifying these goals early, the investor can decide what type of property and what market makes the most sense. Location is one of the most important factors in U.S. real estate. A property's ability to generate income depends on the surrounding community. Areas with growing job markets, strong schools, and low crime rates usually attract reliable tenants. For example, cities experiencing rapid economic development, such as those with expanding technology or healthcare industries, often see higher rental demand. At the same time, smaller towns with affordable housing can sometimes provide strong cash flow because purchase prices are low while rent is still competitive. The key is to study local market trends, compare neighborhoods, and analyze what renters in that area are willing to pay. Once the potential location is identified, the next step is to look at financing options. Most buyers in the USA do not pay for rental properties in full cash. Instead, they apply for a mortgage. For investment properties, banks usually require a larger down payment than they do for personal homes. Typically, this is around 20 to 25% of the property's price. Lenders want to see that the borrower has strong credit, steady income, and enough reserves to cover unexpected expenses. Some investors also explore alternatives such as partnerships with other buyers, private lending, or using equity from an existing home to finance the new purchase. The financing decision is crucial because it directly impacts monthly payments and overall profitability. Profitability is measured through cash flow. This is the amount left after paying all expenses, including mortgage, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and property management fees. To make the investment worthwhile, the rental income must be greater than the expenses. Another factor that new investors in the USA must understand is property management. Owning a rental home does not end with purchasing it. Tenants must be found, repairs handled, and rent collected. Some investors choose to manage properties themselves, but many prefer hiring professional management companies. These companies usually charge between 8 to 12% of monthly rental income. In return, they handle advertising, tenant screening, rent collection, and maintenance calls. For someone who values time or lives far from the property, this can be a valuable service. Legal and tax considerations also play a major role. Every state in the U.S. has specific laws that define the rights and responsibilities of landlords and tenants. Some states are considered landlord-friendly, while others offer more protections to tenants. Before purchasing, it is wise to learn about the local legal environment. On the tax side, rental income is taxable, but owners can claim deductions. These deductions often include mortgage interest, property taxes, repairs, and depreciation. Depreciation allows an investor to spread the cost of the property across many years, reducing taxable income and increasing profit. It's also important to recognize that buying a rental property is rarely about instant wealth. It's more like planting a tree that grows stronger over time. In the beginning, the process may involve learning, making small mistakes, and adjusting strategies. But with patience, the property can generate consistent cash flow, build equity as the mortgage is paid down, and increase in value as the neighborhood grows. Many investors in the U.S. start with just one home and later expand to multiple properties, slowly building a portfolio that can provide financial security for years to come. Thinking long-term is key, instead of chasing quick wins. Successful rental property investors focus on sustainable growth. They calculate their risks, prepare for repairs and vacancies, and keep a financial buffer for emergencies. This mindset turns real estate into a reliable source of income rather than a gamble. With proper planning, even a single rental home can become the foundation of financial stability. With the foundations of rental property investing clear, the next stage is to put the plan into action. This stage involves analyzing real properties, running numbers with accuracy, and making informed choices that will impact financial stability for years. while the first part focused on understanding goals, financing, and legal considerations. Now it is time to dive into the practical side of buying that first rental home in the USA. The search for the right property often begins online. Many American platforms such as Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, and local MLS listings provide a window into available properties. Each listing contains valuable information: the asking price, square footage, number of bedrooms and bathrooms, and estimated rent. However, numbers on a screen are not enough. The real challenge is to separate good investment opportunities from emotional purchases. A rental property is not about whether someone would like to live there personally. It is about whether tenants in the area are willing to pay consistent rent, and whether the property can cover its costs. Evaluating a property begins with the 1% rule, a quick tool many U.S. investors use. This rule suggests that the monthly rent should be at least 1% of the purchase price. For example, a home costing $100,000 should ideally rent for at least $2,000 per month. While this is not always achievable in every market, it provides a fast way to filter out options that will likely not generate strong cash flow. After this initial filter, deeper analysis is necessary. Deeper analysis involves calculating all potential expenses in addition to the mortgage. Property taxes vary widely across states and even counties. Insurance rates also differ depending on the property's location, age, and condition. Regular maintenance, from fixing plumbing to replacing appliances, must be factored in. Vacancies months when no tenant occupies the property are another hidden cost. A wise investor in the U.S. usually assumes 5-10% of annual rent will be lost to vacancies. By putting all of these numbers together, one can see whether the property truly produces positive cash flow. Beyond numbers, the property's condition plays a critical role. A home that looks inexpensive on paper might turn out to be costly if it requires major repairs. Roof replacement, outdated electrical systems, or foundation problems can quickly drain profits. This is why professional inspections are essential. In the United States, buyers commonly hire certified inspectors who provide detailed reports before the purchase is finalized. This step protects the investor from unpleasant surprises. Another crucial aspect is understanding the type of tenants the property will attract. A rental home near a university may attract students, which can mean higher turnover but also consistent demand. A property near business districts might attract professionals looking for long-term stability. Family-oriented neighborhoods with good schools often draw tenants who stay for many years. Knowing the target tenant helps in choosing the right property and in setting appropriate rent. Once the right property is identified, the process moves into making an offer. In the USA, this is usually done through a real estate agent. The agent submits an offer letter that outlines the proposed purchase price and conditions. Negotiations may follow, where sellers and buyers adjust terms. If both sides agree, the property goes under contract. During this phase, the inspection and appraisal are conducted. The appraisal is required by lenders to ensure the property is worth the purchase price. If issues arise during inspection, the buyer can renegotiate or even withdraw without losing their deposit, depending on the contract terms. Closing the deal is the final step in the buying process. At closing, all legal documents are signed and ownership officially transfers to the new buyer. In the US, this usually takes place at a title company or with a closing attorney. The buyer pays closing costs, which can include lender fees, attorney fees, and prepaid property taxes or insurance. Once the closing is complete, the property officially belongs to the new owner, and the journey as a landlord begins. However, ownership is only the beginning of another phase: management. New landlords often face questions about whether to self-manage or hire professionals. Self-managing can save money, but it requires time, patience, and knowledge of landlord-tenant laws. Hiring a management company reduces stress, but cuts into monthly profits. The decision depends on how hands-on the investor wishes to be. In both cases, success depends on maintaining the property, while responding quickly to tenant concerns and keeping good financial records. Scaling beyond the first property is where real estate becomes especially powerful. Many investors in the US use the equity built in their first property to buy another. As the mortgage balance decreases and property value increases, that equity can be borrowed against to finance additional purchases over time. This creates a cycle. Each property generates income and builds equity, which funds the next purchase. This strategy allows a portfolio to grow steadily without requiring huge amounts of new cash. Still, Growth should always be balanced with caution. Real estate markets can fluctuate. Interest rates can rise and unexpected repairs can occur. That's why experienced investors emphasize keeping financial reserves. A healthy reserve account acts as a safety net, covering expenses during vacancies or emergencies. Without this buffer, even a profitable property can become stressful during tough times. Another smart practice in the USA is networking with other investors. Local real estate groups, seminars, and online communities allow beginners to learn from those with experience. These networks can provide referrals for reliable contractors, property managers, or lenders. They can also offer insight into which neighborhoods are improving and which ones may be declining. Learning from others, successes and mistakes is one of the fastest ways to grow in real estate without repeating avoidable errors. In addition, technology has transformed the rental property experience in America. Online platforms allow landlords to collect rent electronically, list vacancies to thousands of potential tenants instantly, and even handle maintenance requests digitally. These tools make property management smoother and more efficient, especially for those who are balancing investment with a full-time job. At its core, buying a rental property in the USA is about combining strategy with patience. It's about treating the process as a business rather than an emotional purchase. While the path involves challenges such as learning financial calculations, navigating legal requirements, and managing tenants, the rewards can be significant. A well-chosen property can produce steady income, appreciate in value, and serve as a cornerstone for financial independence. For beginners, the key takeaway is that success does not come from rushing. It comes from careful planning, thorough research, and a willingness to think long-term. Each decision, from selecting the location to hiring the right management, shapes the outcome. Real estate in the USA has built wealth for countless families and individuals, but it has always favored those who approach it with discipline and foresight. By following these principles, anyone entering the rental property market in America can move forward with confidence. It is not about instant riches. It is about building a secure financial foundation. The first property may seem like a big leap, but with knowledge and preparation, it becomes the first step in a journey that can change financial futures for decades to come.